everyone, so we have a bit of a haul situation going on right now in front of me. I've done some shopping and I didn't realise how much shopping I'd done until I actually put everything together in one big pile. As always, it started off with just one thing that I wanted to buy and try out, and then things just spiraled, the ball got rolling, and I ended up buying far too much makeup over the last 2 weeks. And this wasn't one particularly big splurge. I've kind of collected a few things over February and I thought I'd show you them today. And let's just be honest, let's call this what it is. This is definitely a more high-end haul. These were all kind of from Space NK, from the John Lewis Beauty haul. There isn't really any budget products here at all, and I'm really sorry about that. I will link below some of my more budget-friendly videos if you prefer to watch those, but for now let's just have a good chat about expensive makeup. So let's start with the one thing that got this whole spending spree going, and it's the NARS All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. I'm just going to check the name that I got that right because it is a bit of a mouthful, but this is NARS's newest release when it comes to bases, and they don't bring out foundations very often at all, so I decided to give it a go. I wasn't going to buy it originally. I was kind of on the fence about it because it is quite a thin, very sheer coverage foundation. That wasn't really what I was looking for at the time, but curiosity got the better of me and I had to pick it up. I feel like there's been a bit of a theme with new foundation launches recently. There's lots of these very thin, very lightweight foundations that are almost kind of powders suspended in liquids. I think that's how one of them described it once. I'm still a little bit unsure about those types of foundations because after a while they just seem to sit on my skin and become very noticeable and just feel really uncomfortable to wear, even though they are quite light and don't really have much to them. There's just something very weird about the formula. They almost feel quite slippy, sometimes a bit silicone-y, and I think that just doesn't feel particularly nice on my skin. But this one I think may have just swayed me. Now this is an all-day foundation, so it is designed to last for a really long time, and I've only worn it a couple of times since I bought it, but I have found that it really does stick to my skin. It almost has this kind of set feeling, like it sets down once you put it on, quite similar to Estee Lauder's Double Wear, in the way that once you've kind of buffed it in you can feel it just sort of tightening up slightly and just like it's really going to stick onto your skin, and it definitely does that, and it definitely does last a really long time. I was very surprised at how well this kind of got me through the day. Now the coverage isn't amazing. They do say you need just one pump for the whole face, and I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I did try it the first time and it gave kind of a very natural, very kind of even skin, but still like your natural skin shining through kind of look, whereas I used quite a few pumps of this, and I found the best way is to literally just slather it over your skin, slap it on and then buff it in, rather than putting the product on your hand or putting it straight onto the brush first. I just found that worked the best with this one. It does have that slightly kind of powdery, almost like it dries to a powder finish, slightly silicone feel, and yet it really does kind of give a very luminous effect. So it feels like a powder, it feels like it's set and that it's not going anywhere, but my skin just feels very glowy and very fresh looking without being super greasy and really shiny. So I really like this so far. I'm going to give it a bit more of a go, but so far so good. Now of course, me being me, had to then be completely ridiculous and go and buy a whole other foundation, and this was kind of a bit of a nostalgic purchase. I saw it and I thought I really wanted to try it again, and it's the Mercier Silk Cream Foundation, and if you've watched my videos for a really long time you will have seen this mentioned quite a few times before. I had a bit of a moment with it a couple of years ago. It was in my first ever makeup tutorial, which is just the most embarrassing video on this whole channel. If you want a good laugh, I will link it below for you to go and watch. Now this one is definitely on the other end of the spectrum when it comes to coverage as opposed to the NARS foundation. It's a very full coverage foundation, and you can definitely feel that while you're applying it. It has a lot more to it and it's slightly thicker. One of the reasons I decided to give this a go again is that I remember it being very hydrating and very moisturising, and because I think I'm now going to have to accept the fact that I just have dry skin, it's not going to go back to how it used to be. I think in my old age it's just dried out, and that is how it is now. A lot of foundations have been picking up on dry patches on my nose and on my forehead, and it just doesn't look particularly nice, so I thought this may help out. Now like I said, this is a very full coverage foundation, and I was actually kind of shocked when I first put it on again at how much it covered my skin, and I kind of wasn't used to seeing myself with that much of a full cover foundation on, because in the past I was definitely very much into them, but I've kind of been more into light to medium coverages, even tinted moisturisers nowadays. But it was kind of nice. It made my skin look so flawless, so if I feel I'm having a bad skin day I know I will be reaching for this one. I found the kind of key to making this work without looking like you're wearing a layer of makeup caked onto your skin is to use a very big fluffy blending brush to apply it, and I've been using the Tarte, I think it's the Tarte foundation brush or powder brush, which is absolutely huge, really big, but it's quite dense and quite compact, so you can really work in foundation, and it gives a nice thin light layer. You can't really feel like there's a lot on there, it doesn't cake it on, and yet it still gives a nice amount of coverage. So I've been really impressed with this one again. I've been really enjoying using it. If I had to pick a favourite of the two, they are so different, you can't really compare them, but I think probably the Laura Mercier one, just because I've loved it for so long, but we will see if the NARS one can really impress me. So another thing that I repurchased, and something I've been putting off buying again for so long, because I really do hate having to repurchase something. I like to buy it once and then, you know, just make it last forever, but I had to give in and buy this because it was getting grubby. I'd lost the lid of it, it snapped off, and there was just no product left at all. And it is the Bobbi Brown Corrector. This is the shade Bisque, and I went without this for about a month, maybe a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and I just couldn't cope. It really is such a lifesaver when it comes to dark circles, and I am just the queen of dark circles. They just never ever leave me, no matter how much sleep I get, no matter how much water I drink. I've just accepted the fact now that I will always have terrible dark circles. The shade of this is perfect for covering up those really purpley blue undertones which I get a lot around my eyes, and the creamy formula is just perfect because I think when you're layering products it's nice to make sure they're very hydrating and they're not going to cake up or look too dry, especially around the eyes, which can look very dry very quickly, I found. So it really is just the perfect thing for that, and if you haven't tried this yet, I cannot recommend it enough. It is amazing. I'm going to get my 2 rather naughty purchases out of the way now, because looking at these I'm still ashamed at myself that I bought both of them. So these are the Hourglass Ambient Lighting blushes. I know blushes, amazing. I've been such a massive fan of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powders for a really long time, a good couple of years now, and the shades Dim Light and Diffused Light are just my absolute favourites. They just make your skin glow, they are amazing. So the blushes are something that I've wanted to try for a really long time, and I think the main reason I didn't get one when they first came out is that I couldn't decide on a colour, and these are quite pricey. I think they're about £35, maybe even more, which kind of makes my heart just skip a beat slightly, but they are so beautiful. So the one I decided to go for, the one I ended up choosing, was the shade Dim Infusion, and this actually teams up with the Dim Light. It has the same powder running through it, but then it has this kind of peachy, very pretty kind of corally pink colour as well. Looking at this in the pan, you wouldn't really think it had any colour payoff at all, because it looks like it has more powder as opposed to more blusher in there, but when I first applied this, I really loaded up my brush because I was worried that it wasn't going to have a lot of colour to it, and then had completely peachy pink cheeks for the rest of the day, because these are so incredibly pigmented. And I've heard people say that a lot before, and I was kind of, you know, how pigmented can a blush that looks like this really be? But they really are so pigmented. They have so much colour payoff. It really is amazing. The way they look on the skin also really mimics the effect of the ambient lighting powders. They just look so glowing and so fresh and radiant, but they don't have any sparkle, there's no shimmer in there at all. They just make your skin glow, and it really is amazing. They just look very healthy, like you have very peachy pink cheeks. So this one is a really nice one for a more subtle look if you're wearing maybe a bold lip, or if you're just doing a very natural makeup look. This is a really pretty one. But then I had to be me and go buy another one, and it was mainly because I was just so impressed by the formula of the first one that I decided to go for the colour that was my second choice, which is Diffused Heat. And this again kind of matches up with the other powder that I have, so this Diffused Heat goes with Diffused Light. Now this one is very different, even the stripes go in a different direction, which I thought was really cute. And this is definitely the sort of colour that is very much up my street. It's a very bright pink, corally, pretty, flushed colour, and I really love that. I think it's the most flattering on my skin tone because I have quite fair, quite pale skin. It just seems to kind of work for me, and I am a blush fiend. I absolutely love it. I don't think it quite shows up on camera how much blush I'm wearing, but I do love a good bit of blush, and this is just so lovely. It's so glowing, again, really kind of radiant looking, but without any shimmer, any sparkle, and I'm just so impressed by the formulas of these. I really want to buy more. I would love to have in my possession the Ambient Lighting Blush Palette, which I think has 3 of the shades in it. But that I just think I'm going to have to save for a major payday, because, you know, that's just not going to happen right now. I've got a couple of eye products now, and I'll start with an eyebrow gel. And I've been after a brow gel for a really long time. I've tried lots of different ones. I've tried clear ones with more tint to them, and I haven't really found the perfect one that kind of sets and that has a really nice shade to it as well. So I decided to pick this one up because I saw Claire Marshall of Hey Claire use this, and her brows are just the bomb. They are amazing. And this is the Eyeko Brow Gel Shape and Define. I think it's just one colour fits all, and it's a really nice deep brown shade, but it is a kind of more liquidy formula, so it's not completely opaque, it's kind of slightly transparent, and I find that works the best when it comes to brow gels. I really love the little wand on this. You get such a precise application with it, and I like to kind of just brush up the front parts. I fill in the arch in the middle and everything with my usual brow products, which at the moment is the Tarte eyebrow mousse, and then I kind of leave the front part bare and then just brush this through it, and I find that gives a more kind of gradient effect, and it looks a bit more natural that way. So this really is the perfect product for that, because it has a nice amount of pigment to it, but it's not overly dark and kind of overly pigmented. So I've really been enjoying using this one, and it does set my brows down so well. I don't have particularly unruly brows, but there's always one or two that are kind of just flying up solo, want to kind of be on their own, but this really sets them down and keeps them in place for a long time. And I think it may be waterproof. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it definitely kind of withstands the first wave of water when I start to cleanse my face at the end of the day. So I'm really impressed with this one. I also picked up another by Terry Ombre Blackstar this month, and these are just beautiful. They're so pigmented and creamy, and the shades are all absolutely gorgeous. There are some very similar things on the high street and the more budget brands with these now, but I think the colours of the by Terry ones are just, you can't beat them. They are just all beautiful. So this one is in the shade Misty Rock, and I feel as if this colour has just been calling out for me to buy it for so long. I think I first saw this on Tanya. She used it in a video probably more than a year ago, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And then more recently Lily Pebbles used this in a video, and I will link that tutorial down below actually, because it was just perfection. Her makeup was beautiful, and all she had was this on her eyes and then a bit of mascara and then a really bold berry lip, and it just looked stunning. So definitely go and check that out. But that just kind of was the last straw on the camel. Is that even a saying? No. So that was just the final push. I needed to buy it, and I'm so glad I did. It's such a beautiful colour, and it's really different to anything I've really come across before. It's definitely a purple, but then in some lights it just looks very browny. It's kind of a taupey purpley brown with a bit more depth to it, and it also has this very pretty silver shimmer running through it. And I'm definitely usually kind of a gold warmer shimmer kind of girl, but this, it just looks so pretty. It's very kind of glossy looking on the lids, which I love. And like Lily said in her video, you can just use this completely on its own. You can use it on the lid and then really pack the colour, but also blend it out into the crease, and it just looks like you're wearing a few different colours that have all been blended together perfectly, but it is just one shade, and it's just so quick and easy to use. I absolutely love it. I've been really getting back into wearing liquid liner recently, and there was a time a few years ago when I couldn't walk out of the house without wearing it. I was just obsessed with it. I was addicted, in fact. I just needed it on my face. And then I kind of went through a phase of not wearing it. I didn't really pick up a liner pen for ages and ages, and then more recently I have been kind of wearing it again, and I've been trying a few new liner pens out. So I picked up another one recently. This is the Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. I've heard a lot about this. A lot of people talk about it and say that it's really good, and I have to agree with them. It really is quite a special one. It's a little bit more than I usually would pay for a liquid liner, because I go through them very quickly and they seem to run out quite fast, but I think it's definitely worth it. Waterproof is definitely correct. This one took a bit of scrubbing, I have to say, on my eyes. I didn't have an oil-based eye makeup remover at the time, so I had to just use my normal micellar water on it, and it took a while to get off, so it's definitely very waterproof. It definitely stays really, really perfect for the whole day. So from when you put it on to when you take it off in the evening, it doesn't budge at all. The nib of this one as well is so good. It's really, really pointy and very precise, so you get a really nice sharp flick with it, or a very thin line if that's what you prefer, but it still has a lot of flexibility and bend to it, so you can really work with it very easily. It's probably one of the easiest liners that I've ever come across to use. It's not too thick and it's not too thin. It's just right in the middle, absolutely perfect. The lid is really interesting as well. It's kind of bouncy. I think it has a seal in there to stop it from drying out, which is always a plus. So the last two bits I have to show you are both nail polishes. These are from Nails Inc, and I've been so into Nails Inc recently. I just love the new packaging, the new rebranding. I've just been really drawn to them, and as soon as I saw these I knew I had to have them in my possession. These are from the new collection, which is called the New White, and they are just the epitome of the perfect pastel. All the shades in the range are pastel colours, and they're really, really creamy, very light pastels, so they're just off-whites, which I really, really love. I'm so into pastels. I'm fully embracing spring when it comes to my nail varnishes at the moment. So the first shade I have is Swan Street. This is a really lovely minty green, just the perfect mint green if you were ever looking for one. This is it. It's really, really beautiful. I actually have it on my nails today and I can't get enough of it. And then the other one is White Horse Street, which is a really lovely kind of purpley, a little bit grey, taupey colour, and it's definitely a shade that I always gravitate to. I really love this one as well. I think they're just the perfect colours for spring, and I love nails ink and nail varnishes, so I foresee these being on my nails for a long time to come. So that is it for the makeup bits that I picked up recently. I hope you enjoyed watching that. I will make the most of this video because I will not be buying any makeup for a long time to come. I'm putting myself on a spending ban right now. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely weekend, and I will see you all soon. Bye!